On August 15, 1947, we attained independence. Alongside, the great ancient land of Bharat was partitioned on communal lines. On the one hand, when the Congress leadership and the Muslim leadership were preparing themselves for independence and taking over the rulership, British colonialists led by Lord Mountbatten were trying to execute the India's Independence Act hurriedly. Many parts of Akhand Bharat were witnessing riots, mayhems, murders and inhuman crimes against women. Gandhiji was taking tours in eastern parts of Bharat. The second Sarsangh Chalak of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Shri Golwalkar Gurji, was travelling in the western part, which constitute Pakistan now. RSS was running many refugee camps. Muslim League leaders were busy not just preparing for Pakistan, but also instigating communal frenzy mobs on the ground. A book by researcher and author Shri Prashant Pol tried to put together developments of this fortnight of August 1947 in his book, which is one of the best sellers, called Wo 15 Din, which is translated as Those 15 Days. This year, Organiser is taking you through the developments of those 15 days, going through the most happening 15 days towards Bharat's independence alongside the communal partition will provide new insights to the viewers and inspire them to take up research on various aspects of conversations, communications and negotiations, as well as the kind of communal frenzy things happening on the ground about India's independence and the great partition of this land. August 3rd, 1947. This day was meant for a meeting with Maharaja Hari Singh. Ramchandra Kak, the Diwan of Kashmir state, had handed over a formal letter in this regard on the day of arrival itself of Gandhiji in Srinagar. That day, the morning of August 3rd, was same as others for Gandhiji. Although it was the month of August, it was quite cold in Kishori Lal Sethi's house. Gandhiji had awakened in the wee hours, as was his daily routine. His granddaughter Manu was next to him like a shadow. So she too had woken up when Gandhiji woke up. Manu would sleep with Gandhiji. About a year ago, during his tour of Naukhali, Gandhiji started sleeping with Manu in the same bed. This was one of the experiments of truth for him. With his transparent and pure heart, Gandhiji never sensed any wrong in this. But this news spread like fire. The Congress leaders were left red-faced. Public opinion started turning against Gandhiji. Finally, Manu separated herself from Gandhiji when he embarked on his Bihar tour after completing Bengal's tour. Here in Srinagar, it was not like that, and Gandhiji living with his granddaughter was no more a novelty that would arouse curiosity of the people. Gandhiji's morning prayers were over before sunrise, and he busied himself in cleaning his living space. After everything was over, Gandhiji entered Gulab Bhavan, the royal palace of Kashmir's king Hari Singh, at about 11 a.m. Even though this meeting with Gandhiji was against the wishes of the Maharaja, yet he did not leave anything wanting in welcoming the former. The Maharaja himself stood with Maharani Tara Devi to welcome Gandhiji in the premises of the royal palace. Yuvraj Karan Singh was also present for the royal welcome. Maharani Tara Devi welcomed Gandhiji in a traditional gesture by applying tilak on his forehead and pancharati. No trace of any kind of pressure on Gandhiji was visible in the palace. He had a very casual demeanor. The Maharaja and Gandhiji had a hearty talk. However, Gandhiji never asked the Maharaja to join India anywhere. Saying so, in Gandhiji's opinion, was not appropriate. It would have dented his image. According to Gandhiji, he was the patriarch of both the countries, India and Pakistan. Unfortunately, however, he didn't know that the Muslim leaders who demanded Pakistan saw him as a Hindu and hated him. Hence, Gandhiji had no place in Pakistan. Since Gandhiji had nothing to say on what stand the state of Kashmir should take after the exit of British, there was not much political discussion. However, Gandhiji's visit resulted in the implementation of Nehru's agenda on Kashmir. This meeting took place on August 3rd and the Maharaja relieved his trusted aide and Kashmir's Diwan Ramchandra Kak, who placed Nehru in prison on August 10th. Another effect was that Nehru's close friend Sheikh Abdullah was released from Kashmir prison on September 29th. On the surface, the outcome of Gandhiji's visit seems to be limited to this. Had Gandhiji demanded of the Maharaja to join India, instead of these two demands or along with them, Kashmir's accession to India would have happened in August 1947 itself without waiting for October 1947, and the Kashmir problem that has arisen today would not be there. But that was not to happen. Mandi, a small town situated at the foot of the Himalayas. It was named Mandi after sage Manu, a spectacular place located on the banks of river Beas. It was a cute and cozy princely state in 1947. However, the king of the state was toying with the idea of his establishing his own kingdom after unyoking from British rule. The state and Narendra Mandal, the organization of the princely state, were in a state of chaos. In the meantime, the king of neighboring Sirmaur state also decided to have his own state without joining India. Now they understood fully well that running such small independent states was impossible. This princess came to know that Maharaja of Kashmir too was thinking of keeping his state independent. These two kings put forward a plan of having a greater union of hilly states in Jammu Kashmir, Punjab and Shimla. They had met Lord Mountbatten just a week ago. He wanted some time to think about this plan. Therefore, they could not sign the letter of accession in India in a hurry and asked for more time for doing so. Sitting in his grand and pompous office of Viceroy in Delhi, Lord Louis Mountbatten was reading the letter by these kings again and again. As many kings would insist on remaining independent, the British would be facing more hassles at the time of leaving India. Therefore, Mountbatten did not like such small states to remain independent. Still, For the sake of democracy and for the sake of his post, Mountbatten wrote a letter to Sardar Patel in this regard. Despite knowing that there would not be a favorable decision on it, as he wrote the letter in the afternoon of August 3rd, Mountbatten requested Patel to allow some more time to the kings of Sirmaur and Mandi regarding the letter of accession. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was in Delhi this day. He had a slew of works since the last few days. The party workers of his scheduled caste federation were coming to him from all over the country for various works. A lot of correspondence was still pending. Babasaheb could not find enough time for his favorite task, reading. But he liked this situation. In fact, whenever there was a load of work and he had to immerse himself in it, Babasaheb viewed it as a parvani. That is why when Nehru asked him a week earlier to join his cabinet, Babasaheb gave an affirmative reply, but he also added, "There is not much work in the law ministry, so give me a responsibility with much work." Nehru replied smilingly, "Surely a heavy task is coming to you." And that afternoon, Babasaheb received a letter from Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. The letter noted that he was appointed as the first Law Minister of independent India. This was an important and joyous occasion for Babasaheb and his scheduled caste federation. Cyril Ratcliffe had a harrowing time in the extreme summer of August in Delhi. This fearless and impartial judge from Britain assented to come to India and work on the plan of partition because Prime Minister Attlee had appealed to his consciousness and exhorted him to do so. Mountbatten wanted someone with little knowledge of India to draw the line of partition. Justice Ratcliffe knew nothing about India. However, Ratcliffe came to understand how big a burden it was to know nothing. An expansive terrain, rivers, streams, network of canals, and one was to draw just one line on this expansive land that would render many non-existent. The land tilled by generations would turn foreign. That one line will ruin many people. Mr. Ratcliffe knew this very well, and he was trying his best to bring about partition in a judicious manner. 3 rooms in his bungalow were flooded with documents and different types of maps. Much of his work was finished on August 3rd. Some controversial places were remaining in Punjab, and he was giving finishing touches to them. And at this juncture, he received a letter written by Major Short. Here was a completely regimental man, a typical British. He had written the letter to convey the reactions of the masses to Ratcliffe. His words in it were, and I quote, "The people believe that Ratcliffe will decide as told by Mountbatten," unquote. Ratcliffe got thinking. This part of the letter was somewhat true. Mountbatten certainly had some influence on Ratcliffe. On August 3rd, at around 4 p.m., a press note came from Jawaharlal Nehru's residence at 17 York House. Since this was a turbulent time, press notes would emerge or press conferences were held daily. However, this day's press note was special. This press note was going to assume a huge historical importance. Through this press note, Nehru had announced the names of his cabinet colleagues. independent India's first cabinet. And that's why this press note had a unique significance. The names given by Nehru in it appeared serially as follows: Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. John Mathai, Jagjeevan Ram, Sardar Baldev Singh, C.H. Bhabha, Princess Amrut Kaur, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee, Shanmugam Chetty, Narhar Vishnu Gadgil. Among these 12 members, Rajkumari Amrut Kaur was the only woman. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was inducted into the cabinet as the representative from Scheduled Caste Federation. Dr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee from the Hindu Mahasabha and Sardar Baldev Singh from the Panthik Party. Elsewhere, a press note from Ram Manohar Lohia had reached the offices of newspapers that disappointed many a Goan. Lohia informed the Goans through this press note that Goa's freedom is not possible with the independence of India. Therefore, the people of Goa should continue their struggle for independence as such. Away from all these developments and raging fire of partition, it was a day of conclusion for the meeting at Devachi Alandi in Maharashtra of the communist activists working in the Congress. Workers were brainstorming since the previous day. Finally, it was decided that a separate group within the Congress and with communist ideology thinking of interest of farmers and laborers should be set up. It was decided that Shankar Rao More, Keshav Rao Jede, Bhausaheb Raut, Tulsidas Jadhav, etc. should collectively lead this group. A new communist party was emerging in Maharashtra. It was Gandhiji's last day of stay in Srinagar. He was to leave for Jammu the next morning. So it was Begum Akbar Jahan who had the privilege of hosting this evening's dinner. She had duly invited Gandhiji to the evening dinner. With Gandhiji's friendship with Sheikh Abdullah, there was no reason for him to turn it down. Sheikh Abdullah was in jail, yet Begum Sahiba had arranged a gala of dinner party in his absence. The workers of National Conference were overseeing all the arrangements. Begum Sahiba herself and her daughter Khalida were there at the door to welcome Gandhi. Gandhiji observed that royal pomp and he became uncomfortable. Any dinner in his imagination could not be so royalist. Still, expressing his fair reservations to Begum Sahiba, Gandhiji stayed there at the dinner till last. The uncomfortable night of August 3rd, 1947 was moving forward. Millions of rich families were coming to the partitioned India as refugees from Lahore, Pathankot and from elsewhere in Bengal. Fear of life, frustration at leaving behind the hard-earned properties and becoming refugees, bodies tired with hunger and thirst. India had just 10 nights before being split. This was August 3rd, 1947.